Hello there, everybody. My name is Super. We're organizer from the LEGO Speedruns team, and we are proud to bring you LEGOthon 2021. We have 3 days of really awesome runs, and we're starting it off with LEGO Harry Potter's years 5 through 7, and I will give it over to Frost and CaptainPaxo to start the run.
So hello, my name is Frost, or Frostidllo. I mainly play LEGO Harry Potter games 1 through 4 and 5 through 7 for about 2 years now, and I'll be running this any percent run with CaptainPaxo.
Hi, I'm CaptainPaxo. I run both the LEGO Harry Potter games and the LEGO Middle-earth games. And yeah, let's get this started. Why not?
Yeah, so if we can start the game. The timer starts as soon as I confirm the game is saving. So 3, 2, 1, start.
So
yeah,
we have a lot to talk about in this game. To start off with, our main goal for the first level is we're going to be getting studs. Because right after this, pretty much, we need to buy a spell, which will then help us break a lot of the later parts of the game.
Yeah, we'll be buying this spell called Glacius, and it will allow us to do a pretty big glitch that saves around, I would say, 2 hours in the run compared to not having the spell at all. And it's very important to get enough stats to buy the spell as soon as possible, which will be after the first lesson. So as you can see, we're starting the story in the Order of the Phoenix, which we will refer to as Year 5. And in total there are 4 years in this game, and we'll be naming there as years 5, 6, 7 and 8.
Yeah, so even though Deathly Hallows Part 2 is Year 7 Part 2, we just call it Year 8 to make things easier. I think that's also what it's called in the code as well. So
Yeah, that's true.
Keeps
It's
it
also
simple.
called in the code like that. So this first section, nothing really specialty here. A little bit of co-op movement. And now comes an auto-scroller section, which is pretty important for our purpose because we'll be getting a lot of stats there. There are 2 purple stats, which are worth 10k stats, and you need to get both of them if you want to buy Glacius as soon as possible. So our main focus would be to get those 2 purple stats, which shouldn't be too hard. But it's a point in a solo run. If you miss one of the purple stats, you will just reset and start again.
Yeah, so hopefully we get them, because we're not going to reset this run.
Yeah. We should still be around 10k above the stats we need for Glacius, so if we miss them, it's still possible to get Glacius as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So you can also see there are blue stats, that is 1000. The gold stats are 100, and the silver stats are just 10. So we'll be focusing on the blue stats and purple stats mainly. And we are also hitting these lighthouses, because each lighthouse gives 1000 stat, I think. So that's the first
I
purple.
think it's 2k.
2k?
Yeah, because it ends with a blue.
Yeah. Oh, we missed that one, but doesn't really matter. I get 4 of them.
4 out of 5. I'll take that.
Yeah, so in this next section, we'll be doing the first glitch in the game that we'll be doing most of the time, and that is called drop-in camera pans or drop-in cutscene skips. Several names for it. And just to explain that, when there's a camera pan, like after some action, the game moves the camera to show that something is happening, and you can interrupt that by dropping in one of the players. And for that, one of the players need to be dropped out. I just dropped out, and as soon as Paxo lifts the hammer there, now the camera starts moving, but I dropped in to interrupt that. And Paxo will do the same right now. Drop out. And as soon as the person will use magic here, Paxo will drop in again to skip the camera, so we can get this stick to Moody earlier. The camera pans save, I would say, from 2 to like 15 seconds, maybe 10 only. It really depends on the pan, but it's really worth because it's very easy glitch to do.
Yeah, the timing window is very big for them, and it may not look like it, but it saves a lot of time because usually your characters are still during those camera pans, so any time you can move is usually good time.
Yeah, that's good. What I didn't mention, that you can't move during the camera pan if you don't skip it, like using this glitch. And that is also a glitch that is used in solo runs. We are now doing co-op runs, but because of 1p2c, which is 1 player, 2 controllers, the route for solo and co-op is basically the same. There are almost no differences. We're gonna be doing a little bit of stuff that it's hard to do 1p2c, and it's a little easier doing co-op, but otherwise the route is the same. So in this minister section, we'll be doing 2 more camera pan skips. And as you can see, we have around 65k stats right now. And for the spell we need to buy, we need to have 110k. And then there is 1 more purple stat in this level, and a couple of blue stats as well. So now Paxo will drop out again for another skip here, right now.
Nice.
And the camera stops panning normally right now.
Yeah, so no matter where you are, you get warped back to that position.
Yeah.
And then
The last skip is here.
there's 1 more drop in camera pan. I move to the exit now, and Frost is just gathering studs by the fountain.
Yeah, there are a couple of blue studs behind the fountain here. And like 3 more here if I can take them. Good.
So yeah, by doing that we got about 20k studs, so definitely worth it.
Yeah. And that's the last drop in camera pan here. That's right now. And I can use the magic. Normally the wizard will turn around and use magic on the box. But you can use magic yourself.
Yep, and that's level 1 done. 5-1 complete.
Yeah, that's the first level done. And we'll be going to Hogwarts now. But first, like after the first level, we will get warped into Diagon Alley, which is a place we will be seeing a lot during this run, because we'll be going to Diagon Alley a lot of times, using this mechanic to travel through Hogwarts. We'll explain that later, but first go to Diagon Alley, go through Leaky Cauldron, through the door, and we'll get to Muggle Street. But the door in the Leaky Cauldron has different transitions, and there's always the transition to the Muggle Street, as we will go through in a moment. But there is also a transition that is only active in year 6, year 7 and year 8 before you started the first level. You enter the first level by going through that door, and we'll be using that to our advantage after the first 4 lessons, I think that is.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should say, once we get out of kind of the next section of the beginning game, none of the rest of the game is kind of in any order. we go all about the place to get the things we need, and then yeah, complete the game. So you're going to see a lot of random moving around. Don't try and follow the plot, because you'll just end up with a massive headache. It's bad enough trying to follow the route, let alone the plot.
So yeah, this is Diagon Alley. You can see that, for example, the Wizard Weez's shop is not there yet, but it will be in year 6, which is a nice touch they made. But this is the London Street. This is just a transition room to go to the platform 9 3/4, which is this. And what Paxo did there, he hit the... I don't know what that was, like something on the wall.
It was something yellow.
Yeah, something yellow that... maybe flower pot, I don't know.
Maybe.
There was a token in that thing, and we will be using that token. I think we will be grabbing it the next time we go through this section. And that token, that's a character token that you can buy, and if you replay one of the levels later in free play Robin, you can play as the character that you bought there. So that was Muggle Orphan token that we will be using in the second to last level, and it will be helping us skipping a little bit in the second to last level. But there is one more token we will need to get, and that one is very important. We will be getting that in year 8.
Yep, that's the important token. If we don't get that, that's a...
Yeah, that one is very important.
Yeah.
So now we are in Hogwarts, and we will be following the intended route for the last time, I think.
Pretty much.
So the next lesson is called DADA Band, Defense Against the Dark Arts Band. And I think that's a great way how you basically learn some spells, but also don't know the spells that you learned in the previous games, in the previous game 1 through 4. So you basically start with all the spells that you learned in 1 through 4, but Umbridge is like banning usage of the spells, so you will like forget the spells and you need to relearn the spells in the future years. So I think that's nice idea how they did it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. They kind of recognize the fact that at the end of 1 through 4, you have a full spell wheel, we call it, where you have basically every spell unlocked. So it's a nice way of kind of making it so you have more to learn in this game.
Yeah, the spell wheel Paxo mentions, that's the thing in the top left or top right corner. And for now we don't have any spells there, we only know Wingardium. But as soon as we finish the Dada Band lesson, we will have... It depends on the character, like Harry will know 4 spells, I think. Lumos,
yes.
Wingardium, Invisibility Cloak, and Expecto Patronum.
Yep. And Hermione and Ron will know 3, I think.
Never mind.
So it looks like we're going to have enough studs. We need to leave this level with 110k studs. We already have pretty much that when we enter the level, so going to be absolutely fine to buy Glacius and break the game.
Yeah, and with that I think it's just about time to explain the using of Glacius and freeze clipping, which is a technique we use to go through walls. And it works like that you buy a spell that will turn one of the characters or NPCs in an ice cube, and the ice cube will start shaking after a while. And while the cube is shaking, you can like move through walls. Now I'll be hitting Paxo with a spell to interrupt his animation. So yeah, you can see that we have enough stats, so we'll be buying Glacius and using it basically in the first minute we have the spell.
Yeah.
So one thing to note about freeze clipping, that it's pretty inconsistent, and sometimes you can get a clip within like 1 or 2 seconds, and sometimes you can wait there for a minute and don't get the clip at all. That's completely normal.
Yeah, we're used to losing like 5 to 10 minutes to perfect freeze clips over the course of a run. That's just, yeah, how it is with them.
I got to Hermione first, but you can
Beat
take
me
the
to
key
it. Yep.
and drop out.
And now we go back to Diagon Alley to be able to purchase Glacius from the shop.
Yeah, and it's very important that I buy the correct spell here, because if I waste my stats on a different spell, more time. I was like triple checking that I had the right spell, and then I hit the wrong button to buy the spell. So yeah, if you buy a wrong spell, it's a reset. Nothing to do about it, because you waste all your stats on a wrong spell. So that was another camera pan.
Yeah,
as we said.
that's why I dropped out.
Yeah.
Kind of.
They are pretty easy, you just need to remember where they are. So Paxo is now setting up the freeze clip down there near the padlock, the green padlock. And we'll be going through that door, hopefully faster than the door up here opens. So I'll just jump here, shoot Paxo with Glacius, and hopefully we'll get the clip soon.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, wasn't too bad. You can see that the other character, for as of now it's Hermione, can push Harry through the wall. They're doing a different technique here. I can explain the techniques later. We need to... Oh, I think this works.
Nope. That one should work.
Okay.
There we go.
So yeah, we are now in Weasley boxes, and that's a level where you learn how to use the orange and purple boxes. And you normally go to this lesson just before the last level, I think.
I think it's before 5-5, yeah.
Maybe before 5-5, maybe before 5-6. And we kind of need to have the ability to use Weasley boxes, but we will be not playing the entirety of year 5. We'll be only playing the first 3 levels of year 5, and then we will move to other years, basically, but it's not that easy. We'll explain more of the year warping later. But as we need to know the ability, we had to clip in the lesson, and that's why we had to do that clip, basically, because the door would open much later, normally. Good, that was a good clip.
It was a good clip. Yeah, so normally we'd have to access this lesson a lot later than we do. I think it's probably like... I think you usually get it like an hour through the run if it's no levels early or something.
I would say that it's like 40 minutes earlier than normal.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can get to this lesson early saves around 40 minutes basically. So that's lesson done for Weasley boxes, and now we'll be following the normal route for once
Kind of.
and getting test rolls, right?
Do you guys mind if I sneak in 2 donations
Sure.
right now?
Sure.
Alright, so we have 2 donations, a $20 donation from Raffo and a $10 donation from Moon Secrets. So thank you for both your donations.
Thanks very much, Raffo and Moon. So yeah, what's gonna happen next is test rolls lesson, where we learn how to feed test rolls, which isn't really something we need to do, but we need to learn something else in year 5, and you can't do it without learning how to feed test rolls. So this is kind of a lesson we had to learn. We have to learn. And after test rolls lesson, we'll be warping to year 6. And I think it's about time to explain how the warping works. So some of the lessons, or some of the rooms in the game, it's better to say it's rooms. Some of the rooms in this game have a specific state, and basically the rooms think that you can only access them in specific years. So for example, Agmamenti lesson can be only accessed in year 6 normally. But as we will be using freeze clipping to go through that room, to that room. Oh, sorry. As we will be using freeze clipping, we can go to that room earlier. And because that room thinks we should be in year 6, it warps us to year 6. Because the door is normally closed. We are now doing a little bit of clipping here, out of bounds, nice. This is a clip that skips a cutscene where you watch Luna in the forest feeding Testros. It worked, nice.
Yeah, so we actually, even though we're in the right section and the game's in the right state, we don't actually do this level normally. We're doing this level in reverse. Because, yeah, which is faster because there's, I think, some weird stuff with how the trigger's set out. Normally when you enter this level from the overworld, you end up being set reverse to how you are when you enter it through the cutscene.
And it is faster to do it in reverse because you don't have to build a bridge or do a hard skip over the bridge. So yeah, now it's time to go to Agmamenti and warp to year 6, and we'll be doing the Agmamenti lesson as normal, but after that we'll be not we don't stay in the castle. We'll go to Leaky Cauldron and use the fact that we are in year 6. And if you remember, as I mentioned, that the transitions in the Leaky Cauldron are to the London Street, but also to the first level of each year. So now there's only the transition to the London Street, but as soon as we warp to year 6, there will be a new transition to the first level of year 6 placed in front of the transition to the London Street. So the first time we go through that door, we'll get warped to 6-1, which is the first level in year 6, instead of the London Street. But we will not go there.
Yep, we don't want to do that yet.
Yeah,
because
we don't want to do that yet. We'll do it eventually.
Yeah.
But
we want to do year 7, 7-1, first level in year 7 first.
yeah, exactly. So we'll go around the first transition and trying to hit the second transition, which is pretty hard. We'll be doing a freeze clip, of course, and it's a pretty hard clip. And it's only possible because the second transition, the one to the London Street, is a little wider, so you can hit the transition that is behind on the side, basically. And we'll be going to the street and keeping the transition to 6-1 still in place. And then we'll go to a place where some part of a year 7 story happens. And because you are not supposed to be there in other year than 7, it will warp us to year 7. So now it's time to do Aquamanti. There is this tricky jump over fire.
Nice.
Managed to do it first try.
That was really good. That jump can take a lot of attempts if you mess it up, but first try.
This is a camera pan, and you can see that we are not skipping it, and that's because this doesn't save any time. Skipping this camera pan doesn't save any time. Now we are doing something we found out pretty recently, that you can use Agumenti with both players at the same time in this lesson.
Yep, so we rescue Flitwick, Professor Flitwick, from the case that somehow got trapped in. And then we make our way to Diagon Alley. So we'll leave the room and then exit to Diagon Alley.
So we are currently in year 6, and you can tell by the shop I mentioned earlier. Now it's here, the Weasley's Wizard Weasley's shop. And here is where we're gonna do the hard clip. We can see Luna next to the door, so that means that there's a transition to 6-1 where Luna is waiting for you. Let's redo the clip, if you don't mind.
Yep.
And behind it is the transition to the London Street.
Yeah, so this clip could take a while.
Yeah, this one is hard, really.
Yeah.
But in total it saves around 3 minutes, so it's worth wasting your time here. But we have to be careful to not trigger the 6-1 transition. Oh, that was almost it.
Can I sneak in a donation while you guys are doing this?
Yeah.
We have a $20 donation from Chuck Juck. Thank you very much, Chuck.
Okay, that was it. We'll get a respawn there and jump into the correct transition. So now we are finally on the London Street, and we'll be doing a small detour to Hogwarts just to say hi to Luna and go back.
Yep.
And we'll be also taking the Muggle Orphan token right now.
Almost got you.
Almost, yeah. So we are doing this to skip a short cutscene of Luna finding out Harry at the start of year 6. And if you enter this room in year 6, you will see that small cutscene. But if we are here in year 7 and we do the stuff we need to do in year 6 right now and go back to the train, we'll not see the cutscene the next time we go here. And that alone saves very, very small amount of time. I think it's like 5 seconds or maybe even less, but it's still worth doing.
Yeah, I think the cutscene's 30 seconds and the movement's 25, so you save a tiny bit of time, but it all adds up.
So this is the
There we go.
place in year 7, and you can see that we have a Ron, Harry, and Tent loading screen, and by that we can tell we are in year 7, because that's the loading screen of year 7. So yeah, now that we are in year 7, a new transition got placed in front of the London Street transition and the 6th one transition, and it's actually a 7-1 transition. And now comes the time when we're gonna use that. So after this cutscene, we'll go back from this cafe to Diagon Alley again, and we'll go finally through that door. Yeah, now you can see it's raining here, and that's a sign of year 7. And now, if everything goes well, we should end up in 7-1, hopefully. Yes.
Yep.
We can see the
So
year 7 loading screen, so that worked.
Yeah. I think if we'd hit the year 6 loading screen there, we had a backup we could do.
Yeah.
Or...
But normally that would be very unfortunate end of a run if the transitions are not in the correct order. It has happened a couple of times to some runners. So yeah, now we are in the first level of year 7, and remember that's the second level we are playing. We can maybe explain the 4 states of Hogwarts, as I already mentioned a little, that there are different weather conditions, and that like the Weasley Wizard Weez's shop is not present, and similar stuff. So that's how we know we are in the correct year. And each of the years have different transitions to different places, and some of that we'll be using later. And for example, the last warp to year 8 is only available from year 5, so we'll be going to year 5 just to warp to year 8 basically, but more about that later. So yeah, each of the 4 years has its own loading screen, as I mentioned. And yeah, that's it. 4 states of Hogwarts.
Yep. Each year has 6 levels in it, normally, as you play through it, although... So that gives you 24 levels total, which you're supposed to play through. In this run, I believe we skip 11 of them.
11, yeah.
Yeah.
We skip 11 levels, and we play 1 level twice, so we are basically playing 24 levels. 14 levels, excuse me.
14 levels, yeah. So yeah, this isn't quite what the devs had in mind. That kind of 30 minutes in, we'd be at... oh, nice.
So yeah, now we can maybe speak about why we even play some of the levels. And the reason is we need to have all the necessary spells and abilities to beat level 8, because the run ends as soon as we defeat Voldemort or hit a trigger to end the last level, which is 8-6. And for that, we need to beat the entire year 8. Have I said year 6 previously? I think if I have, I meant year 8. So we need to beat the entire year 8, and for that we need a couple of spells and abilities. And we are playing years 5, 6 and 7 to the point where we learn the latest ability we need for beating year 8. And the abilities are Diffindo, Reducto, Agvamenti, Deluminator, Hermione's bag, and Weasley boxes. And some of that we already know. We know Aquamenti, we know Weasley boxes. I think we also need Apparition.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the reason we play this level, 7-1. Because in this level we'll learn Deluminator, just in this next section, and Hermione's bag. And after the level we'll learn Apparition. And that's everything we need to do in year 7, nothing else. So we'll be leaving year 7 as soon as we learn those 3 abilities.
Yep. 2 of them we learn in this room here,
Yeah,
and 1 we learn just after the lesson, or just after the level, sorry, as we go back into the overworld.
yeah, and that's the time where we use the other transition to 6-1. Because in the Leaky Cauldron door, as I explained, there were 3 transitions to 7-1, to 6-1, and to London Street. Now that we went through the door and get the 7-1 transition, it got removed. But the 6-1 transition is still there. And we'll be using that to get pulled out of year 7 to year 6. So we finish this level, we go to Leaky Cauldron, go through the door, and we'll be pulled from year 7 to the first level of year 6. And after that the transition to 6-1 will also get removed. So there will be the transition to the London Street again.
Yeah, so the London Street transition never gets removed because it's part of the overworld map. So you always needed to get to places, but the triggers for levels in the overworld and different lessons will appear and disappear kind of as and when the game thinks they're needed.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how the transition to Testros work.
Yes, yeah.
If you use the cloud.
Yep. Yeah, and also the fact that we have Glacius means you can freeze the Death Eaters, which just feels kind of satisfying.
Yeah, but you can also accidentally freeze yourself.
That is true.
Yeah, because the freeze spell is rebounded by a fire. Which doesn't really make sense. Big brain strats.
Double Aglamenti again.
Yeah, remember to drop out after.
Yep. So I've just dropped out now to set up for a dropping cutscene skip when we get back into the overworld.
Yeah, so this is 7-1 done. We
Yep.
learned the 2 abilities and we'll get Apparition right now after this status screen. Also got through Wizard, of course.
Nice.
Because
Because of
of the
the tunnel.
section. Yeah, the tunnel. So this is where normally you would go to the diner, where we've already been because we clipped there. Yeah, now the ghost is leading you to the diner, but we are not going there. Yeah, so we'll be going to Leaky Cauldron and going through the same door out again, but we will not end up on the street, but we'll end up in a 6-1. And you will see there's gonna be a cauldron, a cutscene, or potions loading screen. I mean, not cutscene. And that means we are in year 6.
So at this point in the game, we only really have 2 items left to get on our shopping list, I guess, of things we need to do in year 5, 6, and 7 before we make the warp to year 8. Unfortunately, both of these things we have to complete, or can only get after the 3rd level in each year. So Defindo we have to wait until after 5-3. Reducto we have to wait until the end of 6-3. So we're just having to do some actual like playing the game for a bit before we can get them and then go to year 8.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's time for us to finish the rest of year 5 and year 6. Remember that we left year 5 after Testros, so there are still 2 levels to finish. And in year 6 we haven't done anything yet. Just started the first level, so there are 3 levels to them. But we will not be doing it in the order, like now we are in 6-1. And we will not be doing 6-1, 6-2, 6-3 and then go to year 5, but instead we'll be doing 6-1, then go to year 5 and finish the rest of year 5, almost. Then go to year 6, do the rest of year 6, and then we will do like a very short detour to year 5, and then warp to year 8. As I was saying earlier... Oh, are you not using this?
Yeah, game lagged out for a bit.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, it's worth noting that we are not playing locally, but over the internet, so there might be a little like spikes, but I think it's totally fine.
Might be another one right now.
Alright. Yeah, Dumbledore is having his moment, so let's just wait a little bit for him.
Yep.
Alright, let me re-invite you quickly.
Yeah.
So we wait for Paxo to reconnect back to the game.
Right. I am back, I think. Yep.
Fine. So yeah, we can do the clip. I guess I didn't push you in the right place. So yeah. Okay, good.
Right, there we go.
Now this room is pretty interesting because this clip only saves time over in any percent for not watching a cutscene, but the result of not watching the cutscene is that the door here are closed, so you can only play this basically blindfolded if you want to skip the cutscene. So you need to know what to do, but it's pretty simple. You just shoot everything and bring the pictures to the left.
Yeah, that's a cool strat. I like that. Adds an extra bit of challenge to the normal progression of Lego stuff, so it's pretty cool.
And speaking of fun strats, we'll have one more in the next room, and that is the rocket launch or rocket skip, probably. Because the next part is happening in the Weasley Wizard Wheezes shop. And you need to get to the first floor or the second floor, and you can either go through the stairs and do a little bit of puzzle there, or you can stand on the racket and activate the racket and jump off of the racket to the upper floor. So we'll be trying to do that, but it's only one try.
Yep. Hopefully we can get it, but if not, I blame lag.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Yeah, so this is where you're supposed to get your first look at Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, I think with Harry, Ron and Hermione. If you were following the correct way that you're meant to play the game, but nah.
No, we
We don't do
But
that
yes,
here.
you're right. This would be the first time. And also the first time you see this Spectre specs,
Yes,
but we've
yeah.
already done that. So that's the racket. Jump didn't
Oh.
make up all the way up. So
That's annoying. Oh,
so we need to do the puzzle. That was definitely the lag.
yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then so I use the Weasley box here, which is why or one of the reasons why we needed to get it right at the very start of the game. Or start of the run anyway.
I knew it would work.
Oh no.
So that's the end of the first level of year 6. And there's another thing. And that is kind of a wrong warp, I would say. And as soon as we go to Hogwarts now, normally you would do the rest of year 6, but because we didn't finish year 5, there is one transition that basically is only in year 5, I think. And as we go through that transition, it will warp us to year 5. Originally, when the route was pulled together, that was a problem, that you were pulled to year 5. But then there were a lot of different reroutes, and in the end it ended up being good for us because it will pull us to year 5 as we want to go to year 5, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to
Definitely.
explain that, but
There's so many like small things to this route that have just been refined over like I think especially the past year or so. I think massive shout outs to people like Chimkin who have been doing awesome work to you know further the route of this game and just take minutes off the time the world record in one go, it seems.
yeah. Also, you could have seen that we went through the door normally and there was no other transition to 6-1 or 7-1. And this is where normally the cutscene would play, but because we already finished this Spectre Specs puzzle, we can just go through. And there's another Spectre Specs puzzle waiting for us there, but we can do a freeze clip instead.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah. And after that, we'll go through a door that will pull us to year 5. Okay,
Oh,
that was
wow.
very fast.
That was a really quick clip.
Yeah, so as soon as I go through this door, you will see a loading screen of Filch. And that will indicate it's year 5 now, of Filch and Umbridge. And we'll see this cutscene, but we can skip it because we already seen that one. That was just after 5-1. And of course, the curtain here is closed.
Of course.
And now we re-enter the level, or the Gryffindor common room. Where is the entrance to 5-2? So that's the reason why
Yeah,
this...
and that starts 5-2, which is what we're in now.
Yeah, that's...
So this is the opening cutscene for that level, where Harry, Ron, and Hermione like recruit people for Dumbledore's army.
Yeah, and it's very convenient for us that we got pulled to year 5, just very close to the trigger to this level. So we just went through the through the bedroom. Oh, you're Hermione already. Good. So one more glitch we didn't explain earlier is using Lumos to, let's say, basically everything in this game, but mostly
Drop out.
for giving... Yeah, sorry. for giving items to NPCs. We've used that glitch in Testros already. There was no time to explain, but now we have the time. So when you are giving an item to, let's say, Dean, or in this future part it will be Luna, Neville, and Cho, there is a short animation of that NPC receiving the item and like waving at you or doing something like that. But if you switch to Lumos in the time where you are giving the item to them, you will skip that animation. And give the kettle to her.
Yep.
So you will see just now, as Paxo gives the kettle and switch to Lumos, the kettle stays in his hand, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, the game hasn't gone through the full animation of the item being given to the person, but it thinks, so it marks it off that it's been done, but it hasn't gone through the animation, so we get to keep the item. So yeah, Frost's just done it again. And now we build our second strength potion of the run.
Oh. And you can also do it with drinking the potion, like that, and with doing the strength pool. I will give the flower to Cho.
Yep. Yep, so Frost gives the flower to Cho. I'm going to set up for freeze clip. If my game manages to stop unlagging again. There we go.
Maybe you will clip. Okay. Okay.
There we go.
That was good. So there are 3 more items we want to give to Ginny, Parvati, and Seamus, I think.
I think so, yeah. Yep, another dropping cutscene skip here.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah. This one saves like probably 10 seconds or so. Trying to freeze me.
No, I tried to freeze Ron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Ron, since Ron has the Illuminator, he doesn't have Lumos anymore. So he can't do this Lumos skips. And so we don't like to use Ron. So we give him some hate from time to time. So yeah, now that we are done with 5.2, we are gonna take another lesson that is mandatory for year 8. I forgot to mention it, and that's dueling. But you kinda need to learn it anyway because it's before Defendo. And while we be going to dueling lesson, I'll do like one more thing, prepare something for the future, and that is open a library. And because we are in year 5, you are not supposed to be in library, because to open library you need to go, you need to have Agmamenti. Here is where the library door is, on the left. But as we already learned Agmamenti, we can open the door and go to library. And there is just a transition to year 8. I don't really know how to explain it better. There's just a transition. And we'll be using that, of course.
Yeah, so the library, because you're not meant to access it in year 5, the game panics and puts you in... Yep. Yeah, the game panics and puts you in a random state, puts you in a random year, which in this case is year 8. In other places, like the diner we had, it was year 7. And for the Agmamenti classroom, it was year 6. So it really just depends on what room it is as to what year it warps you to if there isn't one available.
Yeah, but it's very convenient that it's year 8. So we're gonna be doing dueling and the last level in year 5 for us, that's gonna be 5-3. And then we'll warp to year 6 and do the rest of the year 6. Remember, there are 2 more levels we need to do. And then we finally learn Reducto. So we are only left with the Findo as the last spell we need. And for the Findo, we'll go back to year 5 because the Findo is year 5 spell. But we'll abuse a mechanic that Diffindo and Reducto share the same classroom. You can see that Aguamenti has a different classroom that's on the left, but Diffindo and Reducto has the same. And it kind of works the same way as the transition in Leaky Cauldron. So, like, there is a transition to Diffindo, and in front of it there is transition to Reducto. But normally, are you in
It's
the
just
game?
no, it's
No,
just
no,
cut out for me
yeah.
again.
Now it's in the cutscene, so you won't lose time. So the transition for Reducto will be placed in front of the transition to Diffindo. So the first time we go through that transition, we'll get to Reducto. We'll do the Reducto lesson, leave the room, and re-enter the room. And that will put us in Diffindo and warp us to year 5. And as soon as we'll leave that, we'll go to the library and get to year 8. Can you drop in?
No, can you try inviting me again? It said I
Okay,
couldn't connect.
no problem. Excuse for the technical issues.
Right.
Okay, seems fine. Okay, what we've done here is another Lumos skip. We've done it, like, both of us. Usually only one player is required to do that skip. And it works exactly the same as the skip of giving the item. It just interrupts the animation, and this time it was animation of the character dying from falling from, like, too high place. And if you interrupt that animation, the character will just not die and it will land on the bottom floor, and that saves actually a lot of the movement, because that's a shorter way in the castle. This is the last level of year 5 that we're gonna be doing, and this level is a little different because you only play as 2 characters. One is Harry and one is Snape, and Snape doesn't have any other spells than focus. And in freeze clipping we mostly use Lumos to make the cube shake, but that's not possible because Snape doesn't have Lumos in this level. But we will be doing a different kind of freeze clipping right now that only works in this level. We're not entirely sure why that is. It's probably that because it's the memory state. So now we will just set up for the clip, and as soon as the cube starts to shake, we'll pause the game and it will be shaking on the background. And we wait for the cube to go through the fence on the other side.
Which it's deciding not to do.
Yeah, that's the other side that it is going right
Yep.
now, of course. I am known to be very unlucky with this clip.
Same.
That's it. Good.
Okay, second try, not too bad.
That's still saving time over the casual strat, but
Yeah,
only a couple
definitely.
seconds.
I think some of our practice runs we were getting that like 4th try or something.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
There's gonna be another Lumos skip. You can see that I ended up with the thing in my hand. Even though I think this one doesn't save any time. So the normal way we do freeze clipping is by using Lumos. And it's similar to giving the items. The Lumos is basically making you go out of glaciers, but if you switch to Lumos and then back from Lumos and then again to Lumos, you will be infinitely in the transition. In the transition to break from the cube, but it will never break if you keep switching. So that's how we used to do freeze clipping. Before there was another method found, and that we called infinite freeze clipping. And that works like that you need to be casting Lumos at the time where you are being hit by glaciers, and that's what we were doing from the start for basically every clip in but one. So we usually do freeze clipping that I'm casting glaciers and Paxo is the one who is being clipped, and I aim at him with glaciers and he starts to like cast Lumos, and as soon as I see the wand is being pulled up, I release the glaciers, and by doing that we always end up in doing the infinite freeze clip if the spell hits, which sometimes it doesn't. So we are done with year 5 and we are not going to this classroom, that's the Findo classroom, we'll go there later. But first we go here to Agvamenti. You can see the potions loading screen again. So we warp to year 6 for the second time using Agvamenti classroom. And now we'll be going to another lesson, Dwarf of Death, which is a lesson for year 6.
But we still don't follow the ghost to get here. Or get
Oops,
there, we go through this door.
wrong door.
Wrong way. That isn't the wrong way. We have to go that way because then the game sets a flag, I think, that means that... I think it means that you've watched a cutscene, which we haven't
Yes.
watched
Yeah.
by going through there. So, yeah, by doing that, we skip a cutscene. It's very nice. And we're going to try and do the same thing at the end of this section as well.
It's not only that we skipped a cutscene, but if we didn't go there to that room and back, the transition to the potions room wouldn't be there.
Ah,
So,
right.
yeah, you have to like go to that great hall entrance room, and then you can leave straight away. So the game thinks that you done the story previously. But yeah, we skipped the cutscene. Is everything alright there?
Yep, I was getting stuck there for some reason. I don't know what that was, but...
Fine. So yeah, in this lesson there is another cutscene like after finishing the lesson, but we will try to skip that cutscene by collecting the gold brick over here at the same time where the last ingredient is being placed in the cauldron.
So,
like that.
nice.
So the cutscene is skipped now, and we can leave the room.
Yeah, I let Frost get the gold brick there because I think I have I think it's like 12 in a row now that I have not been able to get that cutscene skip. So,
Yeah, that's pretty bad success rate.
yeah. And that cutscene's about 30 seconds long, I think, so you definitely want to get that one.
Yeah, I see Paxo using Hermione here, and that's because he'll move as Crookshanks in this this like transition to the next level. As you can see, Crookshanks has faster movement speed than the normal characters. if you hit the thing, I'll use Aquamenti. Good.
Nice.
I was afraid that I'm too far to the right. So what we've done there is we prepared another token, but we did that token not to use the token later, but to overlap an animation of getting this short lesson finished. This is lesson of Dumbledore's memories. And after you finish the lesson, you normally get like 9-second long animation of getting a gold brick and something else. But if you activate the token like that, you can actually collect the token instead, which has a like 3 or 4 seconds animation. So you are basically saving 5 seconds of, because the animation rewrites the other one. Yeah, here you can build the first part with Mrs. Cole.
Yep.
I think it's even faster if you build it than
Maybe, yeah.
Dumbledore use magic on it.
So that was another quick drop-in cutscene skip.
So now as the cutscene is ending, you will see that instead of getting the Slughorn quest and a gold brick, we'll get the young Dumbledore token, which has the 4-second animation, I think. And we'll be going to Diagon Alley again. And that's for a reason, that traveling through the castle is usually pretty slow, because like the next part where we are going is very far away, and it's that far that it is faster for us to go to Diagon Alley and take the train to Hogwarts again. So that's the token.
Yeah, because we are now going to Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
Not the normal way though, of course, because that's how this game works. We've got to do a freeze clip, get in there, because we don't have one of the spells from year 5 called Focus. So Focus is, even though we completed a level called Focus, we don't unlock the Focus spell, which is the yellow spell, usually in the bottom left of the scroll wheel. We don't actually take that at all in the entire run. We use it once in 8-5 free play, but other than that, we don't learn the spell.
Yeah.
So we have to do a freeze clip to get around that.
Yeah, learning the spell is also after 5-4 or 5-6, 5-5, so that's where we didn't go. And by not learning the spell and doing this clip, we are saving another, like, I don't know, 30-40 minutes maybe. So even though this clip is usually pretty bad, it's still definitely worth doing. Now you can see that I didn't wait for Paxo to cast Lumos, so he had to go with the old method by switching Lumos back and forth.
Yeah, and I also want to be Hermione through this walking section, because that way I'm Hermione when I spawn into the level, which means we can do a freeze clip pretty much straight away.
Yeah, and the reason is that Ron doesn't have Lumos. So yeah, this room usually takes about, I'd say 40 seconds, but there is a transition to the next part of this level, hidden out of bounds. And the trigger was found by accident, by loss. and we'll be going for the trigger. So if you clip out of bounds and hit the transition, you instantly go to the next part. And it's right here towards, oh, I didn't start with you, towards the camera. That's it? Oh. Okay, that was it.
Okay. The game was actually quite nice to us with that clip for once. I seem to always have a problem with that clip in my solo runs, so it's good that we got it relatively quickly.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, now we are in the middle of the second level of year 6, so that's 6-2, and I think there's not much to do in this level. There's like a little bit of movement in the second part, and the third part is extremely short because there are 3 camera pans, and that's it. Nothing else to do there.
Yep, third part's a lot of dropping out and dropping back in, so you better get used to the sound of the menuing.
And the transition to next level is, wow.
That was something that happened.
When we go to the next level, to 6-3, we're gonna be doing the same as previously, as to this level. We'll be taking the, going to Diagon Alley, taking train to Hogwarts, and then taking train back to London. Because the level starts as you take train to London, but it's still faster to go to Diagon Alley, take the train to Hogwarts and back to London is faster than just going to the Hogsmeade station and taking the train to London. Yeah, this cutscene is showing us the connection of Borgin and Bergs and the castle, which we'll be using just before the end of this run. It's very smart thing the developers added there.
A very cool transition, and I didn't even realize it existed, even when I started running this game, so...
So that was the 3 camera pans. Now we're just waiting for Hermione to knock over Neville.
And that's the level.
That's
Cool.
lovely, yeah. There's gonna be a short cutscene and then a status screen, and after that there's gonna be another like 15 seconds cutscene of Flitwick calling us to go to his lesson. And that lesson is actually Agvamenti. But as you know, we did Agvamenti as the basically like 3rd lesson of the run, I think. 3rd, 4th lesson. So,
Something like that.
yeah, we can go straight to Leaky Cauldron instead. We don't need to go to Agvamenti because we've already done the lesson like an hour earlier. Yeah, so this is the cutscene prior Agvamenti.
Yep. But we're going to go to Diagon Alley instead. As if you haven't seen Diagon Alley enough this run. Is this second to last time we come here? No, we come here a lot more than that.
Yeah, we come here to buy the tokens to do the free play.
Yeah.
And after 8, 5 as well.
Yeah.
So I think we go there like 3 more times.
Yeah.
So we are in London, take the train to Hogwarts, and take the train back again. Oh.
Oh, I've gone again.
Okay.
I do not know. I don't know what is happening.
It's like I can't move. Oh, I can move now. Okay, good. It's good that it's in a cutscene again.
Yep.
Well, this level isn't very special. It's pretty easy to do, just 2 freeze clips and a boss fight. But it's the last calm section before year 8. Because year 8 is pretty intense. And I think it's probably the best year. Like, I would say that all the runners of this game would say that year 8 is the best. Well, I hope they would say it. So this is like the last calm part.
Hey, I'm back.
It's working, so we didn't lose any time. This.
Oh.
I don't see it doing the animation.
No, I think because I was running at the same time.
Oh yeah,
it had the quick animation.
Yeah, true. But we got very fast clip.
Yeah, that was a pretty quick washer clip. There is a possibility that if you clip too far to the left there, you soft lock, which loses about 40 seconds, but it's fine, it didn't happen.
Oh, there's another clip here. This time it will require to do some out of bounds movement. Okay, this is good. Go behind the burrow and into the transition. Very well.
Makes sense.
Oh, this time you didn't die. I don't even know
Yeah.
what those things were.
Whatever they are, they're one of the most powerful things in the game. If you stay too close to them, they insta-kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the same level as Bellatrix or something.
You can see that I'm playing as Lupin in his werewolf form right now. And it's good
Nice,
that...
mate.
Oh, I
My
can...
controller's locked up again. Great. It is not working today.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lupin has special abilities if he's in the werewolf form. He can do strength pulling, and he can dig from the ground. So that's both abilities I use there. But I would say that's the only time you use it in this level.
Yeah, so this is kind of the slower part of the run. This is probably the longest boss fight we have to do in any percent at least. So.
Yeah, unfortunately there is no skip for this boss fight yet. I was trying to go for some out of bounds trigger. I was glitch hunting this boss fight, but I didn't find any.
If there was a skip, we'd definitely be going for it.
Yeah.
Okay. 6-3 complete.
So we are done with year 5 and 6, the level parts. We are only left with the 2 lessons. That's Reducto. We're gonna be doing Reducto first, and then Defindo in the same classroom. In the Reducto lesson, there are 5 statues that you need to destroy, and one of them is on the upper floor. Normally you would use stairs that you do in the Defindo lesson, but because you do Reducto lesson first, we'll need to snipe the upper part from a different spot. So Paxo will jump on one of the statues and snipe the upper one. And yeah, that's what's gonna happen, hopefully. Let's see if that works. Oh, I should move here. Oh, worked. So that was Reducto lesson. And now we'll just go out and in. And again, you will see the village loading screen, which means that we are once again in year 5 for the final time. We'll go in. There's the village loading screen. And we've gone back a year. So now this is the Defindo lesson you are supposed to do first. And
Yeah,
as we...
Harry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that as we are in year 5 now, we're gonna be using the transition in library to year 8.
Yep. I was just going to say Harry went a bit too much on the time turner and ended up going back a year.
Okay. I can just shoot the other one. You just jump up there. Oops.
Nice.
Okay, so for the Defindo lesson, there are actually 3 things you need to do. Is the flower, the stairs, and the fish. But Chimkin found out that you only need to do the last one actually. So the lesson is completed once you build the fish. So he also found a way to get up without doing the first 2. So that's what we did there. And the lesson is finished. So yeah, that was the Defindo lesson. And now we'll use the transition to library, which I opened before dueling. And now you see for the first time the loading screen of year 8. That's the dragon. And since we are now in year 8, we'll be staying in that year because our goal in the run is to finish year 8. If you can use the Defindo there.
Yep.
Nice.
So what I did just there was unlock Nocturne Alley, so we can enter that right at the end of the game to get to the last level of year 8. But here we are in the first level of year 8. Cool how that works.
And again, we went through the door, which we previously used to go either to the London street or to 6-1 or 7-1. So this time, as we are in 8-1, like in year 8, there is a transition to 8-1. So maybe I can go and explain why we don't need to have the focus spell learned.
Sure, seems like a good place.
Yeah, so for the first focus usage, we used a clip to go through, go to the Hogsmeade. And the second Hogsmeade, sorry, the second focus usage is in 8.5. And 8.5 is a level that ends in a boathouse. And for finishing the level, you need to use focus and give this kind of barrel to Snape, where he pours his memories. And without that, the level won't be finished. But there is a way to finish the level without that. So, okay, it won't be properly finished. You can finish the level by hitting an out of bounds trigger, but the level is counted as finished, but the story won't progress more. And we'll be using this to finish the level first time with the out of bounds trigger, but for the second time we play the level, or rather we need to play the level the second time and finish it in the way it is supposed to be finished. So the first time we play the level, it's only for the reason so we can play it the second time, basically. And we'll be using the free play version of the level, and we'll be using Albert Runcorn, which is another character token that we'll grab just after this level. And Albert Runcorn is one of the characters that have the focus spell naturally learned. So he can use the spell even though we didn't learn it throughout the Hogwarts lessons. I don't know if that's clear. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's what we're gonna do. So that's the reason why we play level 8.5 twice. First time in story and second time in free play. And once we finish the level in free play, the game will think that we use the normal strats to finish the level normally. And we can then finish and oh, I forgot to drop out. So now you can see what the camera pan is. When you don't drop out and drop in to skip the camera pan, you see something like this. So this ended up losing us close to 10 seconds, I would say.
I'd say about that, yeah, because normally when we saw the fire disappear, you'd be in the door at that, like, around that point. But here we enter Bellatrix's vault, which is great. But I don't really want to be in here, so we're going to clip back out.
Yeah, we're going here for the Horcrux, but you don't actually need to get the Horcrux, you can just leave the vault.
Let's cut out again.
The moment again.
Yep.
I can try to clip Ron in the meantime. So give us a second to re-invite Paxo. Oh, I managed to clip out without you.
Nice. Wait.
Okay. So, what happened there? If you can take the light.
Yep.
What happened there? I had only one player activated, and I used freeze clip on myself, and I used freeze clip on Ron, which was the worst decision, but because Ron doesn't have Lumos, so I was kind of hoping that Ron will just go through the transition, which is what happened. But you can't like prolong the hello. Okay. Prolong the freeze clipping animation with Ron because he has the Illuminator. So you just need to hope that Ron gets through the transition, and as the freeze clipping is ending, you can just move him. That's what happened. So I'll move move a little.
Yep. So in this room we have to shoot 5 of the 6 goblins, I think, which spawn. They can be pretty annoying to spawn, and sometimes they run away. But that was a 1 cycle. Nice. That can sometimes be quite a big problem. If you miss one of those shots, then you end up losing probably close to 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I think the goblins don't spawn in like specific patterns. It's like when you miss one or when you miss 2, and you're gonna hunt the first one, and before you get there, the second one will go away, and like it can take a lot of time. If you miss like 2 goblins, it's problematic. If you miss only 1, it's fine.
Yep, so now we have 8-1 done, and we're on the transition between 8-1 and 8-2. So after year 6, the transitions work a little differently because Harry, Ron, and Hermione are on the move. So we have these kind of campsite situations a lot of the time. And in this campsite, there's a token which we need to get for 8-5.
Yeah, the token is very, very important to take. It's the Albert token that I mentioned earlier. And if you don't get that token, it's basically a soft log.
Yeah.
Like you can still get a different token that knows focus, for example young Dumbledore, but he's very very expensive. Did I miss it? No.
No, you got it. That one just takes a while before you can move.
Oh,
I need to grab it now. Yeah.
That was fine because I like touched the rocket and it despawned.
I should have dropped out there.
Yeah, that's another cutscene skip here. But the important thing is that we didn't forget to get the Albert token.
Yep, we remembered that. All good. So I'm guessing we're not going to go through the clip in this level, or in this section.
Yeah, in this level there is a clip in the first section, which can be fine, but can also lose a lot of time. And the casual strat we'll be doing here isn't really that slow. So we're gonna go for a safe strat instead, not doing the clip. Yeah, and this cutscene skip, if you miss this one, it's like 15 seconds, very long.
Yeah.
Let me use magic first on the thing.
Yep.
So you can use the pad now.
Oh.
Yeah, you're sorry for the sound, that's part of the game.
I think that sounds not even classed as the music either. Like that's just a part of the level. If there was a way to turn it off, we would.
Yeah, like you can turn off the sound completely.
Yeah, but then your whole game's muted.
Yeah, it's maybe worth just for this level.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Yeah, so now that we are back in Hogwarts, after this level you can see that the castle has a different state again. It's like in a war, and the castle is kind of half destroyed. And there are also Death Eaters, and students are running left and right in panic. So that's the year 8 state of the hub.
Yeah, and you also have the stone statues have like come to life, and you can use them as well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I only remember them because they always get in my way on the way to 8-4.
Oh yeah, yeah. In front of the way where you go to Hogsmeade in 1 through 4.
Yeah, yeah.
The Golden Knight place. Maybe it is the Golden Knight you built in 1 through 4.
That would be cool.
But he's not golden.
Ah, well, you know, general wear and tear from being a few years older, I think. And so this is where we need most of, or where we need the dueling, which we got.
Yeah, right. This is the first time we do dueling.
Yep. Which is great for me. It means I get to sit back and just let this happen. But what happens here is the spell that you're required to fire will always cycle around in a circle. So this time it started on red, it will then always go to blue, then to orange, then to purple, and then back to red.
That'll be, of course, skipping purple.
Yes, Frost will be skipping purple by being on it, because for us purple is still Glacius. So if we used it, the other character gets frozen, and we have to wait for them to break out before progressing with the duel.
I like to get the crest and then use McGonagall in her cat form. Oh, here we are again.
Cool.
Oh, hopefully we'll be in a cutscene again, so that's fine. I'll just use my keyboard to drop in to skip the cutscene, and then I'll re-invite you. So this time I started on Agmamente, which means that I can end on Agmamente as well, because Agmamente is the fastest spell in the duel. So let me quickly invite Paxo again. Alright, seems we have a little bit of connection problems with Paxo, so I'll have to finish the run on myself. Hopefully that goes well. It shouldn't be that big of a difference for a viewer perspective, because I'll be playing 1P2C, which means I'll be using 2 players at once. So it should be relatively same to a co-op. So here we have the entrance to the next level, 8-3, where you need to give a couple of... Oh, excuse me, I just need to set my controls, because the default controls in this game are not those I normally use. But good thing is that I can also talk a little bit about 1P2C. which is what I will be doing, or what I am doing right now, and also what most of the other LEGO runners in LEGOthon will be doing, and that is controlling two characters with one player. So me personally, I play with a controller and keyboard, but there are other methods. You can play with two controllers, or you can play both characters on a keyboard. It's up to your preference, what feels you the best. But as I started playing on a controller, I kind of like to have at least one player on controller, and because when I started 1P2Cing, I didn't have a second controller, I had to go with a keyboard. So here I am playing controller keyboard. So this next level contains of 3 different sections. One is with Harry and Luna, one is with Seamus and Neville, and one is with Ron and Hermione. And it's probably the hardest level for 1P2C, so that's great that I have the opportunity to show it off. There is a clip in this level that I will not be doing. Instead, I'll go with the casual strats here. There's another Lumos skip of getting the getting the Spectre specs. And this next trick is pretty hard. It's called a goo jump, and you need to land just here to... Wow, got it first try. Okay. I thought I would have a lot of time to explain how hard this trick is, but no. So that was the first part of Harry and Luna. And now we'll move to Neville and Seamus part, which I think is the hardest one. It's very challenging 1P2C. And there's gonna be also one very cool skip that was found by a player named Toad, which is very fitting because it's a trick that uses a Toad called Trevor. It's Neville's pet. And there is a small hole in a wall where Trevor can jump through. And if you jump there, the character will follow. You will see in a moment. Okay, I fell through the flower. Yeah, the flowers here are pretty buggy. Okay, good. So now I'll just cast Trevor, jump through this hole, and Neville will just jump on his own, which skips a little bit of time. Oh, but I messed up. So I need to repeat that. I hope the thing will respawn. If it doesn't respawn, okay, it does. Fine. Yeah, you can see, the 1P2C here is not the easiest one. I'm having a little bit of troubles with that. But that's fine. You can do this part without putting the fire out, but it's much easier if you do. So that was the first section. Oh, did I miss one? I was pretty sure I got all of those, but apparently not. Seems that I dropped out too early. Yeah. Oh, I didn't place the one. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. So that was the section of Neville and Seamus, and we'll be moving to the last section of Ron and Hermione, which is just a freeze clip and a little bit of 1P2C. And we'll be halfway through year 8. Alright, so there is a little puzzle that we can do, but instead there's another freeze clip, of course. Let's see if... oh, this one went pretty well. That was pretty lucky. And now we only have to use the Hermione's pad twice. And that's the end of this level. You can freeze Hermione here, just for fun. Yeah, these things usually take some time to pull out the fang from the Basilisk. So yeah, that was level 8-3. And we'll be moving to 8-4, Fiendfire Frenzy, which is a level that takes place in the Room of Requirement. There is a little bit of drop-in cutscene skipping again, and some 1P2C. There's also one out-of-bounds movement, which can save about like 20 seconds. But currently nobody's doing that in their PBs. Maybe Chimkin, I'm not entirely sure. But I will not be attempting that. Yeah, so now we have to sit here and watch the cutscenes of all the sections. Alright, so that was the level. The transition to the next level is very short, it's just a couple of steps. Couple of steps to the left. There's the knight that Paxo was talking about, the one that is blocking his way usually. And we start 8-4 here. I'll start playing as Ron and Hermione here. There's gonna be another drop in cutscene skip as soon as I use this. this thing on the spider. Use the racket. Okay, good. And there's another trick that you want to do with Hermione, so I'm much more confident with playing on a controller, so that's why I skipped my characters. Ah, got it second try, not too bad. Yeah, this drop and cutscene skip works a little differently than the previous ones, because here you can move earlier, but not as soon as you can normally. So I had to wait for like 5 seconds anyway, but it's still faster than not doing the clip, because I would have waited for an extra like 10 or 15 seconds. And while we are at this level, I can maybe explain a little bit about a Reducto-less, which is a strat that is not currently used in any of the runs. Like, nobody is using the strat because it's not complete. But if that strat was viable, then the run would be like another 20 or 30 minutes shorter. Because that would mean that you don't need to have Reducto to finish the run, so you wouldn't need to learn Reducto in the first place. And not learning Reducto means that you don't need to do the level that is before Reducto, 6-3. Nice. That was pretty convenient. Oh! That was nice. This is a buffer jumping strat. Wasn't expecting this to happen. Where you can jump over a fire or some other places where you would normally die. But it only works sometimes. We still don't understand this trick at all. Like, we know it sometimes works, but we don't know why it doesn't work other times. So, because I messed up the racket, I just wanted to give it one attempt, and I ended up getting it, so that was cool. This section is pretty bad because the broomstick get in the way, usually. Alright. this is the part where the broomsticks and Hermione usually gets in the way. Because augmented targeting in this game isn't working very well. Well, we made it, eventually. Yeah, this is unfortunately how augmented works in this game. Like, the targeting likes to target the broom towards the camera rather than the thing, the water tank you need to target. Either way, this is the end of 8-4 and only 2 levels left, so we are pretty close to the end, but we're gonna do the level 8-5 twice, as I mentioned earlier, so let me explain that again. Why we're doing the level twice is because we don't have the spell focus, because I didn't learn, or we didn't learn the spell earlier to save some time, and that results in that I need to play the level twice. For first time I need to hit an out of bounds trigger for that level, which means that I can replay the level in free play using a character that knows focus. And for the second time I play the level, I need to finish it with using focus. So the character in question is Albert Rancorn, which I already got. I just need to buy the character, and the character is very cheap, which is pretty convenient. It only costs 20k stats, and I think I have like 500,000 stats. And another character I will be using is Muggle Orphan, and that one is for I think 250k. So I have enough stats for both of them. So at the start of this level, you normally need to put out a fire and go to the upper floor to use magic on some kind of a handle. But it's good that you can just jump here and use the magic like that. It sometimes takes a couple of tries, but it's still faster than doing it the ordinary way. So now you can see that Ron is in this state of being scared of something, and the something is of course spiders, as we know. So I need to wait for the last spider to come down so I can kill it before Ron gets out of this scared state. And then I can do this buffer jump skip, which isn't very easy and sometimes can take a couple of attempts. The way this works is that you jump while being mid-air, and the first frame the character falls on this invisible block, the character just jumps again. But the invisible block is very small, and it's kind of like right from the wall. It's not on the wall, but it's more like on the right of the wall. And maybe I'm jumping a little too far. Okay, that was it. You can see it was like very precise skip, so that's why it took so many tries. So here again Ron will become scared of spiders, and here I need to wait a little bit of time before the spiders despawn. in this first location. Sometimes it helps when you drop in like that. Now I need to drop out because there is another drop-in camera skip just after building this record player. That was one, and there's gonna be another one. And this is the reason why I had to bring Ron here, because there is a Weasley boxes, and Weasley boxes can be only used with Weasleys, of course. There's another one, and we go here. And now comes the boathouse section, and that's the section where I'm gonna do the out of bounds movement, and get the trigger instead of doing the focus strat, because I don't have focus. So you'll be seeing me replaying the first part all over again just after I finish this in free play, just so I can get to this last part again and use focus with Albert Drunkhorn. So this is the only level that we need to play twice, but it's worth because we are skipping like 11 other levels, so it's just fair to at least one play twice. So there's where I'm gonna clip. That's it. No. And the trigger is just behind Snape. Right here. So that's the first time I finished the level, and even though I can see the normal cutscene here, the level will kind of count as finished, but the story won't progress. So normally, if I finished the level in the normal way, I could have started 8-6 straight away, but that's not possible with hitting the trigger, because the ghost, the game will just not allow me to go to 8-6. The ghost will be guiding me to 8-5 again. So we have to sit here through this cutscene, and during the cutscene I can explain another mechanic that I'll be using in the next free play part of the level, and that's a Muggle roll launch. And that's something that the Muggle characters, or the characters without wands like Griphook or Mrs. Skull, well, that's a Muggle, but other characters that doesn't have wand, that's the way how they attack. The characters with wands normally attack by shooting their wands, but if the character doesn't have a wand, they will roll forward instead. And the rolling is used to launch up. It's pretty common in other games like Lord of the Rings, for example, like Lego Lord of the Rings, where if you are rolling against a slope, you usually get launched upwards, and if you have high enough FPS, you will like fly to the sky. So that's basically the same mechanic I'll be using here. And Muggle Orphan is the easiest character to get that doesn't have wand. So it's worth getting him. It doesn't take any time to get the token, and to buy the token is like, I don't know, 1 or 2 seconds, but it allows me to roll instead of doing the buffer jump with Ron. So as this cutscene is ending, I'll just go to Leaky Cauldron for not the final time, or is it the final time? Maybe. I'll be going through here the other way around. And I go here to the shop and buy the characters. So that's Albert Drunkhorn, and here is Muggle Orphan. you can see on the dashboard there are all the levels that we've finished. Not many levels. Usually need to have everything filled up, but not here because of freeze clips. Yeah, a good point is that after this run, I think there's a race of Lego Batman, a mini-kit rush race, and after that we will have the Lord of the Rings replay story, that is. I'm not entirely sure which run that is. Maybe it's no cut any percent, but you'll be seeing a lot of the raw launches there. So this is a freeze clip I didn't do previously because I needed more characters on the other side. Oh, okay. But this time I only need one. Now you can see that I can switch to Muggle Orphan and he does roll like that. So let's hope. Oh, that was almost it. Okay, good. So that was much faster than the thing I was doing in the with Ron. But other than that, the first part is basically the same as what I was doing previously. So I need to do this. Now I need to use Ron. And in this next section, I will be, again, clipping here. But I won't be hitting the trigger again, but doing a different strat. That's not really the way I want you to go, Harry. Let's redo the clip. That was it. Okay, so now we'll switch to Harry and change to Albert Rancorn. You can see that he has the focus spell, while the other characters don't have the spell. I can go through the wall. And this one shot was the reason of all this. So I can finish the level as intended. This is another part where you like use Agmamenti to do the spider or whatever. I don't even know what Ron was targeting, but it worked this time. So this is the normal way how you should finish the level, and by doing this I can skip the cutscene. And this time the story will progress. And now I will go to Hogwarts, but not taking the train, because that way I would warp to year 5. Instead I will go to Nocturne Alley and to Borgin and Bergs and use the cupboard or the cabinet that Malfoy was using in year 6. Here. And that will warp me here. So now I'm in the castle, and the only thing left is to go to the start of the last level, 8-6, which is in Hagrid's garden. So I'll quickly go there. yeah, so this is the last movement in Hogwarts, and the next level is very short one if done properly. It used to be like a 12-minute long level, but now it's only like 5 minutes long, and that's because there is an out-of-bounds trigger. And the out-of-bounds trigger is situated in a place where you can actually go if you manage to go out of bounds. It's pretty tricky and specific movement. It's not too hard to do, but there are some places where you need to be very careful because you can pop in bounds in those places. And that's pretty scary because if you pop in bounds, you need to redo the clip, or you can even trigger a cutscene of the next section, which is pretty problematic. That would mean I need to replay the level again. So the out of bounds trigger works because the first section of that level is in the same room as the last section of the level, and there is like one more section that's between those two sections that takes place in somewhere else in the castle. But as the first part and the last part takes place on the same map or on the same room, you can just go around basically where the last part is in that room, and there is a specific like trigger where if you hit it, Voldemort will die. Normally you would need to fight with Voldemort, defeat a couple of Death Eaters, Dementors and Spiders, which was pretty problematic before the trigger was found, and for the reason that we also, like, as we didn't learn Focus and other spells, we also didn't learn Expecto Patronum, and you kind of need Expecto Patronum to defeat the Dementors. But there was a strat to call in Harry, but because Harry, in some parts of that level, Harry was unplayable character, but instead of him being like removed from the map completely, he was just placed out of bounds. But if you had only one player dropped in, when you dropped in player 2, you will get control of Harry out of bounds there, and you can come with Harry in bounds, kill the Dementor, drop out again, and repeat 3 times. And while someone was doing that in a run, they accidentally like messed up the movement, and they accidentally found the trigger, which is how we finish the game nowadays. And I think the trigger is saving around 6 to 7 minutes, I think. So this is where I will go out of bounds. Hopefully soon. Okay. Good enough. So this is the tricky movement where you need to kind of know what you're doing. Yeah, otherwise you'll fall down like that. Which is still fine. Falling down is fine. Getting in bounds is worse. Okay, this is the place where the trigger is. So let's hope I can find it soon. Ah, that is the trigger. So that's the end of the run. Pretty fun ending, in my opinion. So yeah, that was LEGO Harry Potter 5 through 7 any percent. We only finished 13 levels out of the 24 levels. And thanks everybody for GG's. I hope you enjoyed the game. And I would like to give shoutouts to especially Chimkin, who made this route possible, and also Dad Tofi, who helped with making this route and also found freeze clipping in general, because without freeze clipping the game would be entirely different. That would be like at least 2, maybe 3 hours longer round. And also a lot of the glitches that we used today was found by Chimkin and Loss, so shout out to them as well. And if you like this game, I'd love to see you joining the community and running the game. You can join our Discord. The link is in the speedrun.com page of this game. Or if you would like to see Lego Harry Potter 1 through 4, there's gonna be, I believe, 3 runs throughout LEGOthon. So make sure to check it out. Check out the schedule, and I believe there's gonna be 1 more run of 5 through 7 done by Chimkin. All students in peril, without cutscenes, I think. So that's gonna be interesting as well. So with that, I thank everybody for watching, and I wish good luck to Loss and Sinor, who's gonna be doing the all minikits rush in LEGO Batman. So see you, thanks for having me.